It's just frustrating because I feel like white people only want to like be close to people who don't have views about white people being fucking terrible. Like, it's a very fucking awful thing to have stumbled upon, but like the more critical you are of white people, the less white people actually want to fuck with you. It is a very sick but true thing that like the more engaged you become with your liberation, with actually like fucking decentering whiteness in your life, bitch, they really do not fuck with that. They want to be around brown people and people of color who are like, yeah, like not all of them, like my friend Jake, like they really want that performance. And I hate to say that because I know there's somebody out there right now who knows about a white person that be doing seemingly enough, and never really called that person out, have seen some questionable behavior, and never really had a seemingly quote-unquote reason to like engage with them around like how they're treating specifically black people or just people who are more marginalized than them. And it's just something that I've noticed. Like, I just remember having a lot of white people around me, and then the more I started getting clear about anti-blackness, the more I started getting clear about complicity, the more I started talking about my own privilege also. Like, it's like white people really are understanding. I promise you. They're understanding the stakes. They do. But the more us, like, non-black folk, the more us, like, folks who have mixed ancestry, the more us folks who have proximity to whiteness default, like, to whiteness and, like, you know, be on their side and shit, like, it really just helps them be more delusional. I need y'all to, like, raise your standards simply for fucking liberation. Because some folks right now, like, maybe you don't see yourself as a token, and this is not me trying to come for you. This is me just trying to say, like, there's really no way to be in proximity with white people in a certain degree, in a certain way, without you taking on labor. And if that's what you're doing, that's what you're doing. That's okay. Do your thing. But unless you're willing to do that labor, you're just constantly being... It's like you're either doing labor and still getting harmed, or you're just getting harmed. That's how I think. Now, some folks may or may not agree, but I feel like I can only think of like one white person that ever made me feel truly safe. And that's because they called me out when I was saying some shit that was anti-black. You hear what I'm saying? That's because they pushed back. They challenged me on an anti-black colonized thought. And I was like, oh shit, yeah, you're real. That's the only white person I really trust, bitch. Real talk. So if the white people in your life got low standards, please get away from their ass. Like, let them know, like, not I. Not I. Because Corey is surrounded by white people. Surrounded. That don't see their behavior as fucking problematic. So if you're surrounded by white people, babe, you can't do a standard check for yourself. I'm so sorry to tell you that. It's just not possible. I wouldn't be trusting the whites around you. And when I say that, I don't mean disengage. I mean be curious. Ask more questions. Because if you have been trusting the white people around you, that means something, doesn't it? Like, if you really... And what does your trust mean? Exactly. What is your relationship with that white person? When you say that they're your friend, what do you mean? I want you to get clear about your relationships with people and why you can't ask them for help. And again, I just want to be clear. I'm not doing this for my benefit. Obviously, I will be crowdfunding at some point. But this is a general and a genuine ask for white people in community with majorly white people. How do you do a check on your people? How do you engage with other white people around anti-blackness? And just all hosts the litany of other oppressions that y'all can be fucking complicit in. Who checks who? And is that a real relationship? Like, is it an acquaintanceship? Like, what is that dynamic? You know? I just want y'all to think about it. Because I don't really have a lot of white people that I talk to or I confide in, to be honest with you. And if some white people who recently reached out to me thought about the last conversation we really had where I engaged them, they may really realize that they said some really wild shit to me. Like, I'm not trying to put nobody out there, but I'm going to say this. I remember asking a white person to help me because I was like, listen, I need to get out of this household. This white queer person is taking advantage of me. Like, there are some of you who know that my partner, not my partner, excuse me, my roommate has been fucking taking advantage of me. Like, some of y'all know that. Like, some of y'all have offered to help and send some, like, soap for the bathroom, toilet paper. Like, some of y'all have offered to help out with the cats. Like, a lot of y'all white folk know about this situation, how it's been unfolding. I've been communicating this entire time. And so it's just really frustrating, to engage with someone and say, hey, I really need help to get up out of here. I really need some uplifting. And just kind of be met with like, well, I don't know what to do. And it's like, well, me neither. Like, this is what I mean in terms of like raising standards for care. It's like, what are you up to if you're not gonna do a thing when there's a request being made and you're seemingly in community? If that's not on the table, let's talk about that. Because that's really where I'm at with it. Like, I don't know. I just really want folks to just consider what it means to be in community, what it means to tap your fucking neighbor, the neighbor that I'd never know because I don't have community with white people like that. So that's another aspect of this. Like, I'm telling you all this information so you know I'm in community with people who are disenfranchised. I'm in community with people who are poor. I'm poor as well. Like, lift this shit up to your rich friend. Like, I just need folks to also consider, like, if you have access to housing, you've never been houseless, then you may not understand what it is to be begging for access to housing. You won't get it. And that's okay. You don't have to get it. But what you should be doing is uplifting people who are going through that stress. Like, it would really take no time at all to put a tag on your Instagram and just make sure that, you're throwing it in your story, making sure people are checking in on your story, tagging people. Like, I wish some of y'all would realize that now, like, this is the real world. Like, I can't meet you outside, bitch, without a mask. I can't meet you outside without spending money. I can't meet you outside without a threat. Let's just be honest. This is the easiest, most convenient way. Like, I remember flying a sign that said I, like, needed money, and people shamed me, dude. Like, I remember somebody said that I looked too clean, I looked too pretty. There was somebody who gave me 50 cents and said, God bless you. There were people who were noticing me who I would see every day. And I remember asking my roommate at the time, like, to come out with me, and they were like, bitch, I can't do it. And in retrospect, I understand. I understand completely, because waving a flyer that says I need help automatically tells people around you that you are someone that needs something. And we live in a society where we're supposed to pretend like everything's fine. That's why we keep saying, I'm sorry, my bad. We're supposed to shrink. We're supposed to be less. We're supposed to just disappear, float into the background, like someone saying straight up, I need help. I need attention, I need care, I need love, I need support. That's what these signs mean. And so being ignored on the digital space where we all meet up, that shit hurts on another level. Like, being online is a privilege, and it's also another layer of just stress and just harm, because you can actively see people ignore your ask for help. If you're standing outside of 7-Eleven, you can really pretend like that person really didn't see you. You can really pretend like, even though they pulled up and you're standing there, even though they went in and walked past you, even though they walked out and looked in your direction, you can still pretend like that person that saw you that definitely fucking saw your ass. You could pretend. But online, it's like, oh yeah, 53 people seen this shit. 53 people walked past you. That's what it gives. I don't know if y'all get that. And again, if you've never been housing insecure, you never had a crowdfund, always got to catch a corner somewhere, you won't get it. So just be aware of that like it tells us like the metrics that we can, the metrics are telling us how much we don't matter. So when folks are saying like, oh, I'm not getting the engagement, people aren't showing up for me, the world has been calculating how much nobody gives a fuck when folks are asking for help. So, yeah, we're a little fucked up. We're a little bit mentally unhinged. We're a little bit fragile. We're a little bit frazzled. Like, there's so many layers to how we're feeling as people who are perpetually asking for help, or even people who just recently are experiencing, the inflation that, like, for all the new poors, I love you, and I am so sorry. It is hell down here. What up, though? We're still friends. We're still a community. And all the folks that don't feel like they're poors, unless you own something that's giving you passive income, you are honestly just... I'm just going to recenter this and say that there's only two classes. There are people that own shit and don't have to work because other people work for them. And there are people that have no fucking choice but to work because if they don't, then they fucking die. Most of us are number two. Very few of us are number one. And so discussions about class, poverty, those things are very black or white. And some people don't want to hold that because some people really are the owners. Some people want to be the owners. And so they really don't want to think about themselves as the owned, as the labor class, as the working class. Like even the poorest person is in that class with you. All it means is that right now your body works. Right now your mind works. Right now your job is not being anti-black. Right now your landlord isn't being anti-black. Like, it's a moment, babe. And so that's what we're talking about, really. Like, there are people who own, not all of you, but there are people that own, and there are people who rent. And even the people who own are not even necessarily owners, but they are owners in some respects, But between me and you, it's just been a whirlwind experience. And if you don't understand class, I understand. We live in a world that like literally distorts what class is. I used to think I was upper poverty. I mean, I still am poverty. Definitely not upper. But yeah, like... And to define upper poverty, it was being able to eat whatever you wanted when you wanted it. Like if you want to cook something, if you want to order something, if you want to import a bunch of ingredients and make something from like the internet that seemed cool, like that was my upper poverty. But there's so much more to life than eating good. Fuck. Like I love food, don't get me wrong, but that can't be the only source of joy in life. And with that being said, I'm about to get that smoothie. I pray I get a stoner delivery. I pray that they're like, yeah, I'll do it for a nug. I'll be like, Some delivery people are cool. My delivery people last night they did not want no weed. They were like, no, thank you. Please. Just kidding. But they were kind of surprised. I was like, I'm just trying to be polite. Because really... isn't that? I just feel like if you live in a legal state, I feel like it is plain polite to offer some weed. It's like water. It's like, would you like a spliff? Would you like a blunt? Would you like to, you know what I mean? We're in COVID, so I'm not going to let you hit the bong, but if you'd like your own personal, I'd oblige you.